Yes, we did. Rain and all. No.
I beat them.
Did you meet the
Yeah.
rain? I didn't. No. You doing all right?
You know, Thursday night's my evening administrator night, so I always get so caught up, like, so
Isn't it nice when
Yeah.
you do these?
I got more done last night than I've probably gotten done in the last 2 weeks.
Yeah, I love it. I do too.
It's the best.
I never know. Put it out.
I do it
Give it to me, I'll do it.
I do it after Thursday night unless I've got something to go to, or I'm out of town or whatever.
I think
Yeah.
he's got to work, he's out of time. He came back
on
on
Tuesday. I was so behind, but now I'm still behind, but less behind.
But you can see a light, yeah.
I can see a light, yes.
I know that. Yeah.
I know. I agree.
It's always dark.
And the only thing she keeps saying is, it's not usually like this. What? It's not usually like this. She's been telling me that for a year now. Acupuncture.
Big, doing something big, like, oh,
No.
Shuts off
What do you get in my?
You just below 8%.
So much energy.
Yeah.
They tell me all these stuff they do, you don't have any.
Am I interrupting?
No.
I had a financial question.
What finances?
Easy answer.
Funny how funny you can figure it out.
Oh, wow. Yeah, why, what I wanted to do was and then get 40. Why you can't pass? We have to decide. So recalibration. Can we use
It's like, I mean, other than me come over there and really answer, I mean, that's about as much as I can.
They were probably like.
Yeah.
Well,
they tested for
honestly,
it. They did.
Sometimes you don't get them over the like 30 hours.
Yeah, honestly, that's good.
Yeah, just, give it to Rel on that.
Okay, I want to check with you. Recall them. Did you not? But not.
Honey, that's just not how it works. That's not how it works. Go ask Brady.
It's bad, yeah.
I had a student
Then you just do it until.
that I showed her that dropping.
And she had just started out. She just told me, and the only reason she told me is because
She's not, like,
Yeah,
she got like, but I
Just
got.
let him know and then
And
just
I
go
don't
shoot
know,
it.
equated to drop, I'm like,
As long as you keep under the 30.
mathematically, he's dropping.
Well, that is no problem.
She said, doctor said. But she's like, I need to see that this is
I still get.
Well, if she's gone from one game to another.
Maybe this person.
I really don't think you two would be.
Okay, I got 5 choices.
Well, Ray does a good job. Make sure I'm told.
Maybe get 20. Maybe get 5.
Where they are. Wow.
We're good. Everything's just.
Okay, cool.
Yes.
It's rolling.
Very cool, yes.
This is upside down.
Yes. Oh, yeah, yeah. That's okay.
Morales, somebody's kind of be a little bit late, so except this year, I have 2.
They're the same color, and I was curious about one.
Yeah,
Good morning, Eric. How you
Morning,
doing?
how are you?
I'm good. I'm liking the beer.
Yeah, okay, I'm not, I don't know, see how long it lasts.
I just love the beards. I feel like, well, you don't have to shave. It's great then.
Don't do.
Then you have to trim. Then when you trim something long,
Yes, yeah, I
you
did-
got
I
that
did
all,
too.
start all over again.
Oh, that's nice. Oh, that's nice.
You guys ready?
Yeah.
Good morning, it's been a while. Apologies, I had to cancel the last one. I think that was here, right?
Where it was supposed to be. but-
I mean, it was with Pasco though, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's hard to run together.
Yes, yes.
So it's been a little while. Hopefully we can get some things accomplished today. Ed's sitting in Dr. Goolsby for stand today.
Yeah, and as most of you are probably aware, we have COC visiting team will be arriving next week. So Dr. Jeanette sends his regrets, but he's on West Campus making final preparations, make sure everything's in order for their visit, so we're going to be here today.
But we're gonna press on without. We have a handful of proposals for you guys to look over. Okay. Probably easiest is to hand out copies of everything at once and we can go through it. It's a lot of the Article 9 and Article 14 from your proposals, various miscellaneous kinds of things. A lot of them are of the shorter variety. Yeah.
note the word possible at the top of each page, is there significance to saying possible rather than just?
Oh, yeah, I just forgot to take it off. This was kind of some drafts put around, forgot to change it there. They're all now reality. I'm getting on right now, so. My pet peeve, it's already spelled out on
Oh, okay. I get it.
it's not a big deal, but
Like, no, makes sense.
Do you want to be consistent with either words or Arabic numerals, or is that low on the priority list?
I figure at the end, we can probably clean up all that stuff, but
Thank you.
yeah, I mean, ideally, it'd be nice to be consistent, right? That one just, contracts after 10 or 15 years, I'm surprised how many of them have word written out and then eventually something different.
favorite example that I've ever seen is a grievance procedure that had written in words 5 business days, and then in parentheses it said, number 7 work days.
Yes. Amazing how many times you see stuff like that. Just nobody catches it. All right, there's extras over there if anybody needs any of these things. Maybe just kind of walk through them if you don't mind, and if you have questions or if you want to take a break and caucus and look at more detail, you can. I'll just go in order, starting with 9.1. Faculty work. So all of these, we've taken union initial proposal and did highlighted in the track changes format. What we're suggesting, as you can see. Here, I think our suggestions are fairly self-explanatory. You can ask these questions if you want. These we're trying to essentially put in the article existing practice for the most part.
So I have a question, I guess, about this third sentence in your number one says duty days may vary based on instructional assignments and office hours. So let's say I do Monday, Wednesday, and I do my office hours on Monday, Tuesday. Does that mean that Thursday is not a duty day? I'm not obvious to me what is meant by it varying based on office hours.
Yeah, maybe you want to speak to that. I don't know that.
What does duty day mean? The day that you have to be on campus?
Yeah, I think on the faculty contract, we don't even want to address this, but a duty day would be in the fall and the spring. Typically, Monday through Friday are contractually duty days. Doesn't necessarily mean that faculty are always present. In fact, most of our faculty are usually not here on Friday, and there are a few that teach Friday, and then, for meetings and things like that, but Will, can you maybe clarify that a little better?
Absolutely. So that is correct. A duty day does not obligate the faculty member to be here. Obviously, it's based off of your work or your class schedule. As with Dr. Gooseby elaborated on, if a faculty member is out on a Friday, that still counts. Some faculty members serve on committees and things of that nature. So as a college, we haven't, we calculate those days. We don't calculate them for each individual faculty. It's collective.
Okay, so it sounds to me like maybe what we're trying to say in the third sentence is that basically the days that you're required to be present on campus vary according to instructional assignments and office hours. Because we just said that duty days don't vary based on faculty. Remember, the sentence makes it sound like they do. So maybe we're looking for a different term than duty days there.
I think we're using that just because that's how it's referenced in the internal policies. But I don't think it's, as Darrell's indicating, meant to mean you have to be present. Basically, it's trying to codify what the existing practices and no real change there.
And I would also say that it doesn't happen too often, but there is flexibility in that regard as well. Obviously, you have contact hours with students or what have you, that's governed by the state. So if we run into any issues where calendars need to be amended for whether I'm using an extreme case, like hurricane days or what have you, we now have to amend the contract, then that, you may not normally work on a Friday. However, the college may have to adjust the work schedule to meet state guidelines.
And I know I'm not at the table, but I do want to make a comment regarding the work schedule specifically for programs. Because of the need for the faculty to be there, we have faculty that are in critical labs their, various days, but we find it important for that communication to be able to happen among the health programs faculty. So our requirement is that those 25 hours, 15 contact hours, as well as the 10 office hours are dispersed over 4 days. So if they are able to do those 25 hours Monday through Thursday or Tuesday through Friday, or however that works out, that's fine, but we need them to be there for communication. We cannot run a program without faculty involvement. So we do not want them to do 25 hours in 3 days and then not be on campus 2 days a week. It's too difficult to do the programs. So that is how we do that, so.
Okay, so it sounds like the term duty day is sort of an objective term, right? That there's duty days for faculty in general. And then each individual faculty member has days when they're expected to be on campus for whatever reason.
So the total number, when we calculate faculty duty days, is currently totaled at 162.
Right.
But it does not give, that's correct.
That
We
they're
don't
all
dictate.
here on
If a
100
faculty member isn't here all 162 days because their workload or teaching load does not dictate that,
Right.
we're not going through again, looking at each faculty member to say, okay, hey, you weren't here, you're only here for 152, 158, so we're gonna take off this 162 across the board.
Okay, I think I understand. I think there's maybe some room for clarity there.
Looking to the next one, 9.4. There's a typo here. So you probably want to write it in, but subsection A3 online was maximum 5 hours per week. We struck 5 and then wrote it back in. It was supposed to be 4. We struck 5. We're proposing 4 hours per week for that. Other than that, the addition in subsection 9.4A is we want to make it clear that the office hours will be established around the times when it's optimal for accessibility from the students. All your classes are on Monday and Wednesday, having only office hours on Friday, for example. It's the same sort of thought would be, I think, the addition there. The other main substantive change that we've added is the posting of regular schedule of office hours instead of by the second week, by the first day of class, which is in subsection B. What used to be your CSB, we struck subsection B altogether, and as well as the last one.
Can I ask one question? You struck out the B. I'm looking at that discretion, that sole discretion of faculty. And maybe this is just, I don't understand the legal jargon in it, but what stops the administration from mandating that I have hours on this day, this day, this day? I mean, I don't have any problem with having office hours around classrooms, but at some point in time, what happens? Does this prevent administration from saying, you will have office hours on Wednesday from 1 until 2? Because the way we work now is, I work around my classes, but it works for my schedule. Like I have a Tuesday, Thursday where I have a 2-hour break between classes. Well, I have my office hours in there. I'm just wondering if somebody could say, you know what? You have to take an hour for lunch. You can't have those 2 office hours. You follow me with that? I guess I'm asking just for clarification on how it's written.
I'm not sure if, Brian, if you correct me, feel free to correct me if I'm wrong on this, but I don't think that, I don't like pick on the scenario, but I don't think that scenario will work for an instructor, given the fact, the nature of your status, by law is exempt. So nobody's gonna come in and say you have to take lunch, if that makes sense.
Yeah, I mean, I was just using the lunch as an example, but I'm just saying in general, could somebody come and say, well, you have your office hours scheduled after this class, we think you need to have it before this class. I guess that's what I'm asking.
I wouldn't be able to
Because
speak
that
to
when the
historical.
discretionary thing was in there, that allows us to put them where we think it's best, because there's some classes, I really think it's best to have the office hours before, because everybody leaves afterwards. And so, I guess I still want to have that discretion, as long as I'm meeting the other things around the classes, the discretion, and can I hold it before versus after? And I just wonder if somebody can come in and say, no, you can't do that.
Have you had that happen?
No, but we're working on a contract here, and I'm just wanting to make sure that what we have now basically continues, that somebody's not gonna come in and mandate that you will meet these hours.
I think Gary, good point, but I think the primary intent here is that there's reasonable time around your classes. And I'm not aware of any time that, any dean or provost has said, well, we can have office hours either before or after.
Right.
I mean, we pretty much leave that up to you guys, what works out, and you know your students and when they're gonna be available. The intent is you're not scheduling something that's so far outside the norm, you're not likely to have students come in, right? So you're trying to put 5 hours on Friday because you don't teach on Friday. And the other thing is to avoid, and we have seen this in the past where some faculty will put, like the 15-minute break between classes as office time, and that's really not realistic.
Right.
Because you're going from one class, preparing for another, you might have a restroom break, and there's really not enough time for a student or more to come in and really see you. So, we would have concern if you were trying to do that, but I couldn't imagine that anybody would have a concern if you're putting a couple hours before class and a couple hours after class.
And it's never been a problem in the past, but since we're putting together a contract, I just want to make sure that the kind of the way we're doing it now is still the same way, as long as we're agreeing to around class hours and things like that.
Aaron?
Well, I've got some questions, with B especially. Are you now saying that there is no required minimum office hours for faculty?
It's
right
right
there.
there, 9.1, which is why.
Which is,
And
9.1 says 10, okay, all right. Faculty have always chosen their office hours. It's just because they are the ones that know when they can do office hours around their class schedule. So not giving them the ability to do that it's always been done that way for as many years as I've been here. The faculty have always chosen their office hours, and they pretty much have to because they know when. So I'm not sure why that's been struck from this, okay? Especially the location, time, and duration. I mean, that's what we do, all right, is we choose our office hours and say when, where, and how long we're gonna be there. 10 hours is fine, okay? I just kind of wonder what's the basis behind that? Just breaking that out and saying that you're cutting out the location, time, and duration shall be the sole discretion of the individual faculty member. Isn't it always? And you just said it is, but now in here it says no.
Well,
And I'm sorry, Brian, go ahead.
I can say our proposals, we're not really proposing anything different, but if there's a dispute over it, our proposal is it has to be approved by your
Okay,
supervisor.
well, maybe we can put something in there that leaves that, but just says as approved by administration or something. Because
Yeah.
the faculty have
Have
to
it
choose
in
their
there.
office hours, and no way my dean is gonna pick my office hours for me. I mean, she's just not gonna, not that she couldn't, but she's not gonna do that. The other question I have, if I could move on to this, is that, it's down in B, a regular schedule of office hours should be made available and ready to the faculty members, students, supervisor, administrator by the first day of class. By your own process, that's not possible. Because we can't post our office hours until our schedule has been approved by administration, and that no way in heck ever happens first day of class. It can't, because you've got drop ed to the end of the week, so it could vary. So that can't be by administration policy, that can't be.
If I can intervene, I agree with you in that with our existing process. So I would, the pushback that I would give, not to you, but just to the codifying something in language, would be that if we are looking at our existing processes and drafting a contract around that, and then with our new ERP system coming out, it may provide greater flexibility as to we will be able to do certain things and having those office hours put forth earlier. I would hate for us to have something in language that would tie us to this system when we're moving to a new system that will give us greater flexibility.
I'm saying take the time frame out of that, okay, and just by the first day of class. That's not realistic. Nothing is realistic as far as schedules by the first day of class. There's nothing realistic about that, all right? Like I say, we have drop edge, schedules change. Our dean has to approve our schedule, and that sometimes, well, I'm not gonna pick on anybody, but sometimes that takes weeks to get that done, all right? Then we can't really put that up there or be held to that, so I'm kind of wondering why there's a deadline there when really it's not a realistic expectation. I'm curious. You got a new policy, but
Yeah, I hear what you're saying, Eric, but I think, I mean, I think all faculty know what is scheduled well before the first day of the class, but you are
Well, no,
right,
that's
in that
not
during the
necessarily
drop
true.
ed, things may change, right? But you have going in, you know, when you show up, you know, even the reporting days before the semester, you already know what classes you've been scheduled to teach, you know what those times are. And you're right, that they are subject to change based on, you know, if a course has to be dropped or something happens and you assume another course. But I think by that first day, you can still have a realistic schedule pending any changes, and the flexibility would be then, if you have to make a change, you make that adjustment. And then just like if you change your syllabus, you're now sending that syllabus back out to your students. So if you had to change any office time because of that, because you picked up a course or a course got canceled, then you're just making that change as well.
so, okay.
But
so
I think there
if
needs
that's
to
a
be some
possibility to happen,
deadline,
then why put
otherwise
the
it
date
should
on there?
be by the last day of the semester. So there needs to be some deadline in there that is reasonable, and maybe the reasonableness is what we need to talk
At
about.
the end of the first week would be more reasonable and more logical than the first day of class. Because by the end of the first week, then you know, drop ads there, you can post, you know what students, I think that's a little more reasonable and more expectation, okay? I didn't get my schedule approved until almost a month after the semester started, okay? And that created other problems. So I think the first day is not reasonable, it really isn't.
If I can ask, what is communicated to the students, when they come in and they receive the syllabus currently?
The office hours are given to the students on their syllabus, all right? But we don't post it on our door or anything until we get our actual schedule. We are required to post our schedule on our door. We don't do that until we have approval from the dean, all right? We put it on our syllabus because it's required, because the syllabus has to be ready. Yeah, the syllabus could change. I'd rather not do that.
So to what Dr. Gooseby was saying, if we're communicating to the students office hours on the syllabus, and I'll assume that if there's any modifications, you know, prior to approval, sending out additional or updates or what have you to the students, is there any issue with posting what is advertised to the students and then modifying if needed?
Yeah, but that's, you know, you can, everything's always modified. That's the problem with most of this, is nothing that can ever be written in stone completely. Everything has to be a work with a little bit of flexibility all the way around, because there's just no one size fits all. It just isn't, okay? All I'm saying to this, and I'm not making this is getting to be a bigger deal than it was, but I'm just saying that expecting faculty to have their office hours and everything posted by the first day of class is not very realistic. By the end of the first week, I think that's fair, as long as administration agrees that they're going to get your schedule approved by the end of the week, all right? That's a big push for everybody, all right?
Yeah, I hear what you're saying. We'll continue to discuss it. Maybe you can propose some caveats or alternative language after we caucus.
And I do agree to that, that some faculty do schedule office hours at an unrealistic time, all right? I've seen faculty schedule office hours at 7:30, 8 o'clock in the morning for a class that's at 9. That's just nonsense. Nobody's coming that time to go. I mean, that's just, so I could leave early during the day. I agree with that. That's just not fair to students. And it's, you know, some people are early risers, but nobody's getting up before dawn to go to office hours. That's just, it's not gonna happen.
Next one was safe workplace. This was one of the ones that we've talked about before. For Article 14.4, so this is a counter back. I think we're getting closer on it. The one thing that we did strike after discussing it further was the last sentence about the notifying faculty. If somebody's on the sex offender registry and enrolled in class. What we have been doing over the last few weeks is updating our process for notification generally to the whole college community. So as you probably know, we have a website that we are required to link to FDLE, and we're bolstered that don't think it's online yet, but it's about to be, to provide a little more detail, links as well as instructions. And also asked FDLE to clean up their end because they had some that's still under Pasco Community College and 3 different things. So and they're going to work on that. But bottom line is it's available to everybody. Everybody will have the ability to look at it. We don't want to have contractual requirement to go through that list every semester and notify people individually. Good news is there's not many people on those lists.
Okay.
The next one I have is 14.7, which is the outside employment consulting services. This is another one where it's a counter, slight language changes. I think we're getting close on this one. This is the one we talked about before. So trying to build off the discussion last time with the language, the red part is what we changed a little bit. So you guys can talk about that. I think we understand your concerns, and I think you understand our concerns. We're just trying to wordsmith it at this point. Next one is 14.9, parking. Our proposal is, we're rejecting your proposal on reserved spaces and that sort of thing. But our proposal, frankly, is to continue what the status quo is, to continue to provide parking. We won't charge for parking. There's a little bit of typo. The word will is missing off of that. It says administration continue should be will continue. Basically, we'll commit to what they're doing already. Okay. 14.12 is childcare. Our proposal is that faculty can use the childcare facility on West Campus, subject to availability. You do get, as I understand it, anyway, unless it's changed, you get a reduced fee. Is that correct? So, Brian, yeah. We are uncomfortable, however, agreeing to reserving 50% of the slots for faculty.
That one part of it. Children of bargaining unit members, does that matter? Shouldn't it be faculty, just all faculty?
Yeah, I mean,
No.
to me, it doesn't, it doesn't matter. We could probably do that way.
I don't want anybody to think that we're trying to get childcare just for people who are members of the union. It's for everyone.
Yeah, we can put faculty in there. Choose it. Next one I have is 14.13, minimum credentials. Here our proposal is pretty straightforward. We're proposing that minimum credentials be as published in the faculty credential manual.
If I can make a comment on this, Brian, is I think the COC part of SAC COC should be spelled out as well. Southern Association of Colleges and Schools Council, colleges is what the COC stands for. But that should be fully worded and in the acronym.
Yeah, that makes sense. Council on what's,
I believe it's Council on Colleges.
I can look at that.
Council, Commission of Colleges.
Commission on Colleges, okay, thank you.
I have to say it 3 times.
Okay, I understand.
14.18, legal assistance. So here what I've tried to do is to codify, we're already legally required to some extent to provide legal assistance. The language proposed, I don't know if this was the intent, is a little more broad than I think legal requirements. So proposed language to try and essentially contractually commit to doing what we're supposed to do. Albeit here we're providing legal assistance. I think there's a question in the law whether or most places provide the legal assistance, so we don't have an issue with that. I don't know if you want to speak to that or not, but if the intent of the initial proposal was to provide something beyond that, at a minimum, we want to understand that a little bit more, some of the specificity, because there are sometimes disputes over these things, whether somebody should get assistance or not. If you end up, again, it's one of those things that shouldn't come up in your industry much, but if somebody were to get sued for something that you're doing in the course of your employment, you're generally going to get defense and assistance and that kind of thing paid for you. That's not always clear cut. Occasionally there's disputes over that. Doesn't happen too often, but.
Yeah, I don't think there's a specific intent to broaden that in any sense. See how it can be read that way, but that's not really what we were trying to accomplish.
Right, so, and I'm trying to give you an example. Because I don't think the intent's far off, but you're driving around the parking lot and you rear end somebody or whatnot, we may get sued in college. It happens, frankly. You may get sued too. I don't know that we would agree to provide defense, fender bender, if you will. If you're doing something in class, you're teaching something, you get sued because some student thinks you did something you shouldn't have done, then by all means you would get defense. So how to wordsmith it, to draw those kinds of lines is difficult because it comes up in a whole host of circumstances. But that's sort of what we're trying to do. If it's in the performance of your duties, you get legal assistance. If it's not, you wouldn't. There may be a better way to say that, right?
Well, I mean, the latter, your two examples is what we had in mind.
Yeah, so I don't think we're different intent, it's just making sure we're tight with the language, is the concern for us. Okay, so take a look at that and see if you think that accomplishes that, if you have something else to propose in that regard. The last one we have today is Weingarten Right, 14.19. I don't recall if we talked about this one before.
I feel like we've
Thought we
covered
did,
the
but
subject in the discipline discussion, maybe.
possibly, and I'd have to go back and look at if there's language, but what we've done here is to try and clarify a little bit. We have no issue with providing the Weingarten Right, for those not familiar with, or subject to questioning as part of something. You reasonably believe could lead to discipline, you have the right to union representation. And you have that whether it's in the contract or not, but it's pretty typical to codify that in the contract. So I have no issue with that. We just want to make it clear that representation, if you have it, won't be disruptive to the process. Right. So that's what we have for you this morning.
Okay, I think we definitely have some stuff to talk about, so if we can shoot electronic versions over, that would be helpful.
Yeah, I'm shooting to you right now.
I think when we come back, we'll hopefully have either some agreements or some slight modifications. I see a lot of stuff here that I think we could probably finish up today. Some people also want to start talking about dates. I don't know if December dates are going to be possible for anyone, but think about that. But
I don't know if we talked about it, but we've been looking at kicking around dates on our side too. And maybe we'll talk about for when we break. Show me what we've been shooting emails around.
right.
Task Pam, we're trying to keep track of all that.
Yeah, I know for the spring,
Short straw.
we've talked a little bit amongst ourselves, and we're interested in trying as best we can to get back on that second Friday, fourth Friday schedule that we had early on. Just to, kind of keep the momentum going. I think we're kind of getting through some of the, I don't want to call it fine print, but, some of the stuff that's more boilerplate now, so. I think if we're able to meet more frequently and just have more opportunities to go back and forth on a lot of the stuff that's outstanding, I think that would be helpful. So if you want to take a look and see how second, fourth Fridays are looking in the spring, that would be worth doing. Another thing I've been thinking about, we signed off on a grievance procedure. Since then, I've had a couple of very frustrating experiences with, mostly with university attorneys, nobody from your firm. It's actually usually the in-house counsel people I'm having these problems with. But, we had this provision that, you know, issues of arbitrability and merits are kind of bifurcated. I'm running into some situations where that is abused to delay resolution of things. So I'm thinking about maybe modifying that, say that the parties can mutually agree to do it rather than either side can compel it, because it's just become a real pain in the rear in a couple of other institutions I'm dealing with.
So, we already TA'd that. and
Yeah, we
If you wanted
TA'd
to
that.
propose, I mean, it's, you know, it's obviously it's tentative, you want to propose the language and bring it back, I don't know that it's a big ticket item, we can talk about it. Which to me, that there's a lot of pros and cons of the bifurcation proceeding. One con, obviously, is that it does take longer.
Yeah, I haven't decided one way or the other, but.
We'd be open to looking at it. For what it's worth, a lot of my firms hate that bifurcation proceeding, but some of them love it, it's kind of ambivalent. How much time do you want to take break when you shoot his emails and just maybe try to have all the attachments?
Maybe, say till 11. Please come find you and check in at that point.
It'll be right across the foyer and one.
Yes,
101,
yes.
sounds good.
Senate grants,
Okay, great.
you don't get it,